Attention bowlers, we're going to get started and do something slightly different today. Hello everyone, I'm Steve Kelly for 3 Ball Spare, and today what we're going to be doing is putting together some YouTube shorts of a select few ACST matches from the not so distant past, and I figured it was kind of a good time to sort of maybe do kind of some commentary or whatever, along with making some shorts of some great shots for maybe uploading and sharing at a later date. So if you tuned into the last live stream, I did this probably some time ago. I just kind of made it more of a free-form format where just kind of talk about a certain match and put together some great shots and moments into individual videos, that of which I have handpicked beforehand. What I do is I kind of go through the highlights and stuff, and if I see a shot that's really like, whoa, that was cool, or if it was a shot I just remembered in the moment where I'm like, let's come back to that, let's put a pin in that for later, that's what brings us to here. So today, I'm not sure how far we're going to go with this, but I certainly have at least 3 matches prepared to do some editing today. And today's docket will be a recent match I streamed that was Jordan Stackpole at Jordan Stackpole's match in Class A North, and that was a great list of shots that I pulled out of the match, including a triple strike attempt. So we'll get creative with that. We have McLaughlin at Archambault and McAllister at Volante, but we'll start with Stackpole at Dellas, and we'll go with that first. So the general idea is we're not doing this exactly just kind of hunting for shots. What I'm going to do here is I have a predetermined set of boxes that I already went through and highlighted as, hey, that's noteworthy, and we'll just kind of go with that and maybe start with that to get things going. So the general creative process with this is to kind of make the sequences first, and in this case we're looking at a almost triple strike from Mr. Dellas, and it was a great attempt, and we'll try to glue that together. It's one of those things where it's like, do I make it 3 shorts or do I make it 1? And in this case it definitely warrants combining all 3 into 1. So let's do that. We'll call that the G1B 6 through 8 triple strike attempt. It was a 2.9, but who's counting? And we'll get those previews up here in just a moment. This is the fun part. We're just very quickly making some sequences to get things going. In case anyone's wondering, the software I'm using here is Kden Live, which is a free video editor. It's available on all the major operating systems, Windows, Mac, Linux. We are on Linux today. Okay, we made our sequences. Let's dive right into it without any further ado. If you're just joining, hello, my name is Steve Kelly with 3 Ball Spare. You might know me from the live streams and such, but we're in a bit of a quieter setting today. We're not at a bowling alley. I know, shocker. We're in the editing room, just kind of making some shorts because it's Saturday, and I don't know, there's available time on a Saturday. So we'll begin with Stackpole at Dellas. That was a match at Boutwell's Bowling Center. We'll start with Game 1, Box 9. Jordan Stackpole taking the 1-3-7-10 for a spare. Let's go see if we can find that. So what we're going to do is I'm going to actually switch us to a different view here. Here, let's go find it first. So we're going to scrub through. It was the 9th box of the first game for Jordan Stackpole, so keep an eye out for that. We're just going to scrub through. We're coming right up on it. Once we see his first ball thrown, there we go, 1-3-7-9. So what we do here is we're just taking the rough cut of it so far. So let's maybe just reminisce on what this shot even was. So we're going to pull Jordan Stackpole right up to the point where he's going to throw. Let's take a look at this.
Class A North Division 4.
That looks good.
Oh yeah, there's our first mark. Cracking open the opening ceremonies for the marks.
That sounds good. So that was Jordan Stackpole with his mark. So let's put that together and make it look cool. So this match was an impromptu match at the time. It was it was Dino Dellas kind of tapping me on the shoulder when I was just finishing up Krista Ruggiero and Brian Hebert's match. And he was just like, hey, want to do my match immediately following? And I said, oh boy, I think I have gas in the tank for that. So we'll see where we go with that. And I remember this match was fun because I had Brian Hebert co-calling it with me on the mic. So that was all super fun. And many thanks to Brian for helping me out. So we got the sequence here, and let's put some Shorts magic together. Excuse me, just had a cough. All right, so what we generally do is now that we have the rough cut, we're putting it into a sequence here. And let me switch back to the fun part, the timeline view. And what we're going to do is we're going to first get our pin cam straightened out here. So what we do with the pin cam is we just kind of just make it bigger overall. So we duplicate the video, we take that sucker at the top of the screen, normally in the broadcast, and we just make it nice and consumptioning, occupying the upper third or quarter of the screen. Now this part is tough. If you're making YouTube shorts, it is not easy or you think it would be easy, but if you want to do it like the right way, the quality way, you got to think about every smartphone that exists on the planet and like where the cutouts are for the cameras. You'll notice here that I'm kind of leaving a little bit of space towards the top of the viewing window. And in the old days, that was called like the broadcast safe region. There were like some areas of the edges that you were kind of off limits to. And because a CRT television might have cut it off, or the HDMI, what is the, I'm forgetting what it's called, the HDMI whatever, older flat screen televisions, when it was called overscan, that was it. It would kind of blow up the image. So you had to be careful in terms of where you went. And because of that, you have to kind of design your viewport a little bit specifically. So we're going to pull this down because I know the iPhone specifically has the dynamic island, which kind of consumes the middle part of the top, and it's not quite at the top edge, it's down a bit. And I'm never really super great at kind of knowing where that is, and someday I'll get better at it, but I'm kind of lazy with it at the same time. So we'll kind of drag it down a little bit. That's the transform part. Then we'll do a padding crop because we only want the pin cam in this particular part of the timeline. So there's our pin cam. Now let's go back to our regular one where we are going to zero in on Mr. Stackpole, and we'll do a tracking shot. I know it was a let me take a look at this again.
Class A North Division 4.
That looks good.
Oh yeah, there's our...
That's not bad. And actually, I'm going to go back and redo the effects on this because I realized I messed something up. So in case you missed it, this is Jordan Stackpole on the 13710. And I'm actually going to extend the scene out a little bit further because I realized you don't really want to get him mid-approach. Let's get him a little bit further back, and maybe we'll have some commentary to maybe fill the void, so to speak. Didn't quite find the starting point there. We'll drag it way further back. That's not bad. There we go. That's a good starting point. I don't know what I was thinking before.
Oh yeah, there's our first mark. Cracking open the... Yeah, there's our first mark.
And to make this quick, we'll just end it there. The thing I've learned about YouTube Shorts is you don't want to linger too long if nothing is really going on, because YouTube algorithms are fun. Our fun little friend, the YouTube algorithm. All right, so real quick, I won't beleaguer you with the explanation twice. Let's just get our transform in here, drop it down a bunch, pad and crop. In it goes. Snag this up this way. There we go. And now let's track Jordan Stackpole with a transform with keyframes. All right, so in a YouTube short, it's vertical video. I hate vertical video, but what are you going to do? We'll start with Jordan Stackpole kind of like relatively centered in the shot. And we wait till he takes his first step on the approach. There's our first step roughly. It's not exact science, but it's somewhat of a science. So we start with the first step. That's when we do our first keyframe. Then we let it play,
Class 8.
and it's right about the point where the ball hits the lumber. So it was right about there, kind of where the sound happens. That's where we'll have another keyframe, and we'll make some magic happen. And this part's fun because we just have to position it. Just kind of make it a little more cinematic, you know, or make your eyes focus on the part that's important. So Jordan Stackpole on the 13710.
6 drop here. Class A North Division 4.
That looks good.
Oh yeah, there's our first mark.
And that's a good way to end it. So there we go. So that's pretty much one in the bag. So that's one of several that we'll do for now. Let's move on to the next one. We'll get faster as we go through. Kind of wanted to more over-explain the first one, and then we'll kind of really get cranking on the next one. The next one we'll go to Mr. Dellas in Game 1, Box 6. Bear with me one moment just to cue that up. What shot was this? This was a triple strike attempt, actually. So we'll start with a long series of these.
Dino.
Mr. Dino Dellas.
For the final quarter of the first game here.
Needs a mark if he wants to take this game.
Sure does.
And right on cue.
Yeah.
And I remember this. This was an exciting moment during the match because as he kept throwing the strikes, there was strike one, the replay strike one. There was number 2, and number 3 was right about here. It was a spare. Spoiler alert. It was just on a single. Let's see.
In the pocket again. Oh, 10 pin shy of the triple.
Beautiful.
So, yep. Love getting robbed of a triple strike. All right, so we have the chunk of video where we have our strikes. So let's go to the editing portion here. So what we're going to do is kind of chop it up a little bit to make it more action-packed. So we'll start where our starting point is.
For the final quarter of the first game here.
Needs a mark if he wants to take this game.
Sure does.
And right on cue.
Yeah. Hey. Yeah.
All right, so we'll stop at the yeah for the first one. For the second strike, we're going to cut ahead a little bit. Don't need to show the replay in a short. We just want to find the part where the next live one begins. Right about here. It was actually look at that blend. We go from replay to live really quick. Dino did not waste any time with wanting to throw that second one.
For the double. Off the pocket. Gets double.
Hey. 2 in a row. The Dellas double.
So that's number 2. And then let's go to number 3. And God, don't you love when you throw a perfect third strike attempt and it drops all but 9? Or one, excuse me, it drops 9 but not a 10th. That's happened to me too many times. All right, here's number 3. Let's see where we land in the commentator sphere of things.
That's 77 and counting. Next ball.
We'll start with it. That's 77 and counting. Maybe when the pin setter spots the pins, that'll be perfect. Let's do that.
77 and counting. Next ball completes the double strike fill.
Right on the pocket again. Oh, 10 pin shy of the triple.
Beautiful.
All right, so we got our 3, and yeah, I was just watching that myself. I was like, oh my God, come on, get it. Because it was just the way the wood spread, right? It's like you go on the 1-3 pocket. Look at where that ball even went. You see that ball trajectorying, that's a word, right towards the 10, and it's on the 6, and you saw it started on the 1-3, and it went right towards the 10. Where does it go? It even gets close to touching it. Look at that. Does it cross? It probably crosses in front of it. Yeah. Wow. It's like you couldn't have asked for a better shot. And I guess you couldn't have asked for a better ripoff. Oh, my God. All right, so we have our rough cut. The point here is just going for the rough cut. So I'm going to cheat a little here. I'm going to take the effects that we made in the previous short, And I'm going to copy them because I believe, if I was not mistaken, he was on the right. Jordan Stackpole is on the right lane in that short. Dino Dellas is on the right lane here. So let's cut to that. I'm going to take the effects off of the one that I'm just temporarily copying. Save those for a moment. We'll duplicate the 3 shots. Remove the audio. We don't need the audio twice. Take these 3 here. Chunk this back this way. And then we'll drop some transforms and padding crops here. So we'll drop you here. We'll drop you here. And we'll drop you here. I can't recommend this editor enough. KDen Live, made by the KDE folks. Really great editor. It's free. It's free AF. Open source software. Works great. About as versatile as a lot of more advanced video editors. And certainly more capable than stuff like iMovie. So do check it out. KDen Live. KDEN Live. Anyways. So we're going to make sure our pin cams are all set here. That's 1. And that was 2. And number 3. Okay, pin cam is all good. Let's go to the transform down here. This will be where we watch Dino work his magic. Check this out. So the fun part of doing all this is kind of deciding what you want in the frame and making sure that there's no like redundant stuff in the frame. And here's the other thing about the safe zones. It's in YouTube Shorts, and this is never ending, and it depends on, literally what day it is of the week. Because I know as I'm speaking this, YouTube Shorts is like redesigning the way the player is even like designed visually. So it used to be that there were controls on the YouTube Shorts kind of like on the right side, and there was a whole bunch of crap on the screen, but apparently they're adding a clean screen option. It won't get rid of the camera cutouts because that's a hardware feature of your phone, but it'll at least kind of remove some of the clutter and make things more visible on the screen. So I guess props to them for that. So we're at the start of our first strike for Mr. Dellas. Let's play on and see where we make our first keyframe.
Final quarter of the first game here.
First step is right there. Throw the ball next. Ball is released here. So let's expand and zoom. And I have other shorts in this set that are using the front cam in addition to the back cam, so we'll do a little bit more cinematography as we get to those, but these starting ones are just in the rear view. So maybe we'll do something akin to this. I'm not worried about the stuff at the top because, like I said, it's a bit of a safe zone thing. It's not really going to be seen by most people, and if it is there, it's probably going to be obfuscated by a camera cutout on a phone or something, so... And what I like to do here also is I like to do a couple extra camera sweeps here, even after the shot is thrown, just to make it look more dynamic of sorts.
Yeah.
So what we'll do is we'll do maybe a little zoom out kind of thingy. Kind of like the swag walk kind of thing. It won't be too fancy, but let's just take a look.
Needs a mark if he wants to take this game.
Sure does.
And right on cue.
Yeah.
Look at that. That's strike 1.
Off the pocket, gets
This one's a little faster because he started almost immediately, so I'm going to have to figure that out. Why don't we... This one might be a more standard angle. Not so much out of laziness, but more so the clip is rather short. But I will attempt to make some kind of fun zoom here, maybe upon the pin impact. So if I wait for the ball to show up in the pin cam, how about the second the head pin moves? Right there. All right. That's good enough. We'll kind of do like a wow zoom, that kind of thing. How about here? Let's see how that looks. Does it look like crap? We'll find out.
for the double. Off the pocket.
Maybe I'll pull in the first keyframe a little bit even further. Yeah.
For the double. pocket.
Yeah, I like that. All right, so then we're just going to do the outro zoom. So let's wait for Dino to start walking backwards towards the button, the reset button specifically. So what we'll do is we'll make a keyframe. Yeah, I usually like to wait till I press the button, and then I'll do a zoom like that. It's just kind of a nice way to add closure to the clip. So let's take a look at where we're at.
Dellas for the final quarter of the first game here.
Needs a mark if he wants to take this game.
Sure does.
And right on cue.
Yeah.
For the double. Off the pocket. Gets double.
Hey, 2 in a row. The Dellas double.
The Dellas double. The Dino double. Okay, and now the not-so-triple, although it really should have been, honestly. I do like that we engage a little bit with a more of a pause, with the pin spotter coming up to give yourself a chance to catch your breath with that first and second strike. So how about we get the camera to a certain workable state here. Kind of our neutral first position of sorts. How about right here? I think that's decent. All right, so the pin spotter goes up. Wait for the first step.
77 and counting.
I don't know if you can hear the audio or not. I'll turn it up just a little bit. There's his first step. And then I'll kind of go, I'll scrub frame by frame here. Right about here is a good place to do a zoom, because we will track the shot from start to finish. So that basically means the camera will start moving from when they take their first step on the approach to when they release the ball, and then we'll hold on that shot for a little bit. See, we're decently in frame. The release is good. And then I might do another one starting here because you can see his body language. He's kind of drifting off to the right. That's kind of what Dino tends to do. So we'll do a starting keyframe here, followed by...
Right on the pocket again.
And then, wow, there's even a messenger that kind of comes towards the 10, but then it doesn't. All right, so what I'm going to do with this is upon the impact, I'm going to do a zoom onto Dino, because that will be a cool way to kind of end it. Something like that. All right, let's see how this looks. This may or may not look good, but we'll find out. Let's zoom in here. Have a look.
That's 77 and counting. Next ball completes the double strike fill.
Right on the pocket again. Oh.
All right, that's not bad, actually. I'm going to add an additional because he starts walking to the left. Starting keyframe here. Where does he end up? He ends up over there somewhere. Not bad. We'll zoom out a bit. How about I hold shift while I'm zooming to do like a proportional zoom, not to mess up the proportions of the pixels or anything. How about that? All right, let's take a look at this again.
Next ball completes the double strike fill.
Right on the pocket again. Oh. 10 pin shy of the triple.
Beautiful.
All right, that's not bad. Okay, so that's the triple strike, and we'll let's watch that back, and then we'll move on to the next one. Next one will be a Jordan Stackpole strike. But let's watch this triple strike attempt.
Final quarter of the first game here.
Needs a mark if he wants to take this game.
Sure does.
And right on cue.
Yeah.
For the double. Off the pocket. Gets double.
Hey, 2 in a row. The Dellas double. That's 77 and counting. Next ball completes the double strike fill.
Right on the pocket again. Oh. 10 pin shy of the triple.
Beautiful.
All right, that's not bad. And it is I hate this algorithmic wise, but it's one of those things where apparently it's beneficial to end a short on action, or like when the action abruptly ends. And I guess I don't know why. I just think I don't know. Algorithms and me don't agree well, but we'll do that because some of the best shorts on 3-ball spare with the best metrics kind of end that way. So we just kind of ended abruptly like that. But all the action is there at least. So, 6 and 1, half a dozen of the other. But anyways, so let's move on to Jordan Stackpole with a strike. The second string in the first box. So we'll move ahead to that strike. Bear with me one moment while we just get that going.
All right, as we move on to the second string here, Dallas up 2. Jordan Stackpole on the pocket himself, and he starts with a strike.
There we go. We've identified our moment. So we're going to start where he begins, Mr. Stackpole.
Dallas up 2. String here.
We'll open up with Brian Hubert's commentary.
Dallas up 2. Jordan Stackpole on the pocket himself, and he starts with a strike.
That's not bad. All right, we'll take that. We're going to ungroup the clips. You all know by now how this kind of works. It's a simple shot, still in the rear view. We're going to steal the transform and the crop from a previous short, but we're going to adjust it a little bit this time. Because as you know, we're on a different lane this time. So what we got to do is just make a slight adjustment to the transform here at the top. We're just going to mosey this on over to the left lane. See, not the hardest thing in the world. Make that look decent, give us some safe zone room. And now let's get into the meat and potatoes of the shot. Where we're going to follow the bowler in the other viewport window. This is all stuff you can do in the YouTube Shorts app, but the problem is the YouTube Shorts, or not YouTube Shorts app, the YouTube app proper, but they barely give you any control over what you can do, and you just don't get enough, I don't know. Editing on a phone is also painful. Anyways, here's Stackpole in the starting position. Let's wait for him to take his first step. There we go.
Up 2.
Takes his first step there. That's when we'll start moving the camera. We heard the ball hit the planks, so we're going to just drag a little bit this way. Maybe zoom a little bit this way till we're reasonably centered. About here-ish.
Jordan Stackpole on the pocket himself, and he starts with a strike.
That's not bad. Let's just make sure our outro shots are right here when he takes his first step backwards. Right about there. Yeah, I like that.
On the pocket himself, and he starts with a strike.
Very cool. So let's put it there. And let's call it good. I'm going to take a moment to save. This is a reminder to always save your project files, by the way, in case anything weird ever happens. This was from April 25th of 2026. We're going to save our project and let that just recombobulate itself. There we go. We are recombobulated.
Dallas up 2. Jordan Stackpole on the pocket himself, and he starts with a strike.
That looks good to me. In fact, let me play it back for you one more time in the zoomed in view, but this is how it will look.
Jordan Stackpole on the pocket himself, and he starts with a strike.
Yeah, I like that. All right, so that's all good. So we'll put that in the barrel. We got 3 great shorts made. There were a lot of strikes in this match in general, and actually everything is a strike except for one shot, which was a 210 spare by Jordan. We're going to go back to a Dino Dellas strike, but it's going to have a front camera, so we're going to have some slightly different action this time. So as always, we go back to our master sequence. We're going to find string 3, box 1 to get the ball rolling here. No pun intended. Game 2, game 2, game 2. Where is game 3? Still in game 2. Here we go. All right, let's back it up just a little bit. Oh, that was it. All right, so this will be more exciting here because we get to see the full frontal of sorts. So we'll chop it here at the little transition screen. We'll wait for it to finish.
Right into the pocket. Another strike.
Very cool.
It's gone.
So our rough cut is taken out of the master sequence. We'll deconstruct this in just a moment. Let's just rewatch it real quick to see how it goes.
One throws they're both smooth, but one throws a curve, and Dino just throws a nice, smooth, full extension right into the pocket. Another strike.
It's gone.
So the cool thing about that was a lot of these strikes in most things, it's like the 5-pin falls last, and I'm finding that's kind of more like one of my more favorite strikes, because like the head pin kind of fires back and spins into it. It's just a really cool experience when that happens.
One throws they're both smooth, but one throws a curve, and Dino.
We're going to just chop out that transition part just to make it less awkward. Here we go.
They're both smooth, but one throws a curve, and Dino just throws a nice, smooth, full extension right into the pocket. Another strike.
It's gone.
All right. So let's go into editing mode here. We're going to duplicate the clip, remove the audio on the second one. And you know the drill, we're on the left lane so we can steal the configurations from the previous. Oops, move this into the right sequence, no problem. We'll grab the Jordan Stackpole strike. We'll grab the pin cam sequence from that, or the clip from that more specifically, and we'll steal it. We'll drop it into this new one. Duplicate that, no problem. Put a transform onto the bowler camera. Now let's get cracking. Let's crack on here. Mr. Dellas with a strike, and it will be a front cam strike, so we'll do a transition in the middle of this where we'll completely upend everything we just did for the second half of it in the name of editing. All right, here we go.
They're both smooth, but one throws a curve, and Dino just throws a nice, smooth.
There's step 1, keyframe 1.
Full
Release the ball, keyframe 2. And maybe we'll just do a zoom in. And I'll show you what the curveball is here. So we start with this.
throws a curve, and Dino just throws a nice, smooth, full extension.
So
right
you'll
into the
see
pocket. Another strike.
It's gone.
So you'll see here that we transition as the ball is halfway down the lane. Right about here. And here's the tricky part. So I'm going to have to make a couple of keyframe changes to both parts of the clips. This is going to be tough. It's going to be tough in theory, but thankfully the editor does allow some leeway and assistance when it comes to doing the fine-tuning of that. So we'll do keyframe number 1 on the pin cam first. We'll transform, we'll add a keyframe on the transform as our first frame of the fade comes in. And we'll want to get to the new position of the pin cam as soon as possible, which will be probably right around here, maybe just a couple of milliseconds away. One moment. Sorry. And then, and the only difference in the live broadcast was I switched to a more zoomed in, blown up view of the pin cam. So we just matched that in our shorts version. So that one's all set. Keyframes look good. Right? Yeah, look at that. Beautiful. Now the problem is, you'll notice down here, we are not in view of the bowler anymore. So we'll take these same keyframes, which are in sync with the bowler camera keyframes, or sequence that is. I'm using these terms all wrong, bear with me. And then what we're going to do is we'll have our starting keyframe, don't have to do anything there. Ending keyframe, we got to make sure we got Dino in the shot. And we'll just make some adjustments as necessary. This is going to look good. You got to love, look at that footwork. He's so close to the line. He's not over it, but it's like if you look really fast, you're like, hey, did he go over? No, he definitely did not. It's like that's some prime bowler discipline right there. All right, so we'll maybe put him right about here. We can move him around if he moves around. Let's watch the shot.
They're both smooth, but one throws a curve and Dino just throws a nice, smooth, full extension right into the pocket. Another strike.
Perfect. All right, so we just need to handle just the return to the back view. And maybe I'll actually even add another one here where as his head kind of goes slightly out of frame.
Another strike.
I know it's literally less than a second, but this stuff matters. It matters to me. Let's watch this.
Right into the pocket. Another strike.
Cool. All right, and we're already on to the next scene. So then we add a keyframe here, and add a keyframe here. And what we're going to do, what I like to do, is get a little lazy here. By this point, the pin cam is no longer needed because the pins are gone. There's no need to even have that there anymore. We'll zoom out the pin cam. Fade out the pin cam. And then from here, it's just some transforms to close out our short.
It's gone.
Just like that, it's gone. That's just kind of a way just to end the short. Because if you're watching these in a row or something, closure is always fun. All right, let's play this back.
They're both smooth, but one throws a curve and Dino just throws a nice, smooth, full extension right into the pocket. Another strike.
Beautiful. It's gone.
All right. We got that in the barrel. And we got another one. Same game, just a couple boxes later. The 5th box by Dino Dellas in the 3rd. And then we just have 4 more shorts to go, and then we'll move on to another match. So, let's see what Mr. Dellas does in his second half. And the thing about these marks that I'm skipping is not every mark is necessarily like... It's not that every mark is, it's something about like how exciting a mark is. Like a single pin spare or whatever, you can only watch so many times. And it's like, on paper on the scoreboard, yes, it's always great. But in terms of action, in terms of highlights and stuff, we kind of want to see a few more exciting ones. We will have a Stackpole spare coming up where he takes the 210, just in a little bit. All right. Actually, it was the 5th frame, so it was actually still his first half. Let's go find it. Right about here where the pin is going to be spot, or the pins are going to be spot.
Yeah, Stackpole was at 50 through 4, so he's on track to get a little... Stackpole was at 50 through...
Let's start with the Stackpole line.
Yeah.
Right about here.
Stackpole was at 50 through 4, so he's on track to get a little higher at the halftime.
Ooh, right in the pocket, and he takes a strike.
That will do it.
So he'll bookend his half with strikes.
Very cool. And then once again, oh my goodness, it's like all these strikes that are just like engineered in a lab where the 5 pin just falls last. It's like, how many times are we going to see that? All right, so game 3, box 5. We're going to do the same thing here again. And just like the last, we can actually probably steal a couple of things from this. Once again, we're going to duplicate the clip so we can get a pin cam and the bowler cam all lined up. Going to steal the transform and the crop by padding. We might have to manipulate this a little bit because I don't exactly know when it... Right about here is when it transforms. So we got to move our keyframes a little bit. Let's watch that again. That's not bad. So that's fun. It's 5 pins go down immediately on the right half of the rack, and then you have the bucket of 5 on the left, or the 2 diamond and the 7. And it must be just messengers from here on out because the ball gets the heck out of dodge real fast. See, watch this. It's on the 1-3 pocket.
Ooh, right in the pocket.
The ball is off the plate, but the wood does the rest. See, look at this. It's like, watch that 4 pin. It's like multiple messengers taking down the last 5. Just like that. It's like a super cool view. Here, watch this.
Ooh, right in the pocket, and he takes a strike.
That will.
Beautiful. All right. So we're going to just define our keyframes for the fade out as well, which will go here, right here, and right there. We'll put a pin in that for later for the bowler camera, which we're going to do next. So Dino Dellas with another strike. A clinic of strikes in this match. This was a wild match. I know I already put one short up where we had the really spinny pin that eventually took the 7. It was for a 10 box, but it took a while, and I know it was a really exciting moment in person there. All right, so Mr. Dellas is going to take his shot. Right about here, we'll take our first step with the keyframe. Right there.
Get a little higher at the half.
And release the ball. Oops. Right about there. Yeah, why not? Add a keyframe, zoom in. A little bit like that. That looks good to me. And we got to go to the keyframes of the pin cam and copy them down to the bowler camera. We go 1 here, and we go 1 here. And we got to find out where Mr. Dellas is. And we got to zoom out a little bit. Bear with me a moment. I got to figure out where. Oh, I copied the wrong one. Just kidding. We'll remove those. Backtrack and do that again. I want this one. Number 1 and number 2. There we go. That makes a whole lot more sense. There's Dino. Right about there is the target. Let's see how that looks.
Get a little higher at the halftime.
Very cool. And then he kind of straightens up right at the end. So we'll make sure we accommodate for that.
And he takes a strike.
Before the fade out, though, that's going to be the tricky bit. We'll just do a slight pan. There we go. Then meanwhile back here, we'll steal the keyframes off of the return bit. The return to rear camera bit. To make sure we have him back in frame for when we switch back. And it's at this point where we're going to fade out the pin cam because we no longer need that. Just need to find the spot where we fade. Right about there. Should be good. All right, let's see how that looks. It's amazing what you have to do for a couple of clips.
Stackpole was at 50 through 4, so he's on track to get a little higher at the halftime.
Ooh, right in the pocket, and he takes a strike.
That will do it.
So he'll bookend his half with strikes.
Very cool. All right. So that's another short in the books. I'm just pausing here for a moment. So Ed Sargent, hey, how are you in the chat? So the question from the chat, Ed Sargent asks, do you have any of my 2023-2024 matches? I don't honestly know if I do. I think I only streamed you, just from memory, but I think I only streamed you in the following season. Was it 24-25? And we're currently just wrapping up 25-26. I can do a quick search real quick. I don't think I'm going to come up with much, but let me just see if I have anything. I'll just search Sargent in my repository. Oh, it looks like I might have a few, actually. Here, I'll pull this up. I have, it was one time you went against Chris Curley, April 21st, 2024. And then way back in 2023, it was Win Trafton versus Chris Sargent and Jeff Little at John Alosa. And I am somewhat curious. This was a long time ago. I don't know how great of a camera work this is going to be. Oh goodness. Well, I guess I do have it. It's just it's a little ugly. Not in terms of the bowling, just in terms of it was the early days of my streaming. Look, I even attempt to have a pin cam using a using a friggin' iPhone. Oh my goodness. My score sheet wasn't really built yet. It was kind of literally just like a skeleton kind of situation. Barely anything, but I do have a few here and there. I'll have to go back and see if it's maybe upload worthy. And it's honestly just because, oh man, you can't imagine just trying to learn this stuff on the fly back in the day, and it was like just trying to get like scoreboards that were actually functional, and yeah, it was something. It was sure something. But anyways, so we'll that was a cool aside. But let's go and just make sure we have the end of the short just figured out. That's all good. All right, let's go to a Jordan Stackpole spare now. So that was Game 5, Box 2. Let's see where Mr. Stackpole gets his spare in Game 5, Box 2. We actually have to jump quite a bit towards the end of the match. This is where Jordan Stackpole really took off like a rocket here towards the end. All right, so we're going to find the clip where he takes the 210. Here it is. We found it. So why don't we start with where he begins.
Tasty wood and the ball is the beaver.
That was the the most cringeworthy line, but sometimes cringeworthy lines get YouTube Shorts views, so we'll find out. Let's listen to this.
Ball is the beaver. It's tasty wood. It sends something. It's tasty. Red line that should send tasty wood. Red line that should send something.
We'll start with Brian's commentary on that before I interject with the color commentary. Again, I was really happy that Brian was here for this match because I was kind of running on fumes at this point. It was the second match of the day I was streaming. It was beyond lunchtime at the time, so.
Red line that should send something. It's tasty wood and the ball is the beaver.
And, oh, gets it. That's an interesting way to get it, but it goes nonetheless, so that's 30 and a, but it goes nonetheless. So.
All right, so we'll let Brian take the lead on the commentary there. Jordan Stackpole on the 210.
It's tasty wood and the ball is the beaver.
And, oh, gets it. That's an interesting way to get it, but.
All right, let's make some magic on this one. He's on the left side lane, just like before. We'll steal the effects of a different sequence and just drag him right in. Maybe removing some of the extracurriculars. Other than that, it's pretty similar. So what we're going to do is make sure it transforms at the correct time. The fade happens a little later, so we'll make sure we're in time with that.
And, oh, gets it. That's an interesting way to.
Not bad. Just need to find the next fade, add some keyframes here. And that's where we're going to do a fade out. Meanwhile, back in the main area, the boulder camera, we're going to do our zooming magic on Mr. Stackpole. So here he is.
It's tasty wood and the ball is the beaver.
So we'll zoom in on Jordan as he attacks the 2-pin. Just like that. Okay. Let's have a look at where this ends up.
It's tasty wood and the ball is the beaver.
And oh, gets it.
That was a risky shot, too. It's like if you see the way the deflection off the cap of the wood happened, that was something to behold. All right, so we're grabbing our keyframes to make sure we've got our bowler in frame. The inspiration for these kind of shots is a little from the old days, the Channel 5 show and WNDS, Candlepin Stars and Strikes, where they would also do this kind of format. And I try to do it, but in a slightly more different and maybe a little more modern way. And of course, I don't have professional, super professional TV equipment either. This is actually just being done by a couple of USB cameras and a phone. So it's amazing what you can do now, which required like an entire trailer of equipment maybe 20 or 30 years ago. It's kind of amazing. So let's play this back and see how Jordan swings it.
It's tasty wood and the ball is the beaver.
All over it.
Oh, gets it.
Not bad. What we're just going to do is make sure our final fades are in place. Pausing 1 second, excuse me. Pollen in the air or something today. I don't know what it is. All right, we wait for the fade, which should match the rough place where the pin cam fades out. There we go. That's keyframe 1, keyframe 2.
That's an interesting way to get it, but it goes nonetheless.
All right, that's all set. Play back our creation and see how it goes.
It's tasty wood and the ball is the beaver.
And oh, gets it. That's an interesting way to get it, but it goes nonetheless.
All right, that's good. We only have 2 more shorts to make, and this match is complete. All right, so we'll go to a strike from Jordan Stackpole this time in the fifth game and the 3rd frame. That was just a little bit after this mark. So let's go fish that out in our master sequence. 5th frame, box 3. Actually, here it is, pretty much, because it was immediately following it. Right about here, we'll make the cut.
He threw it so fast, it was still playing the previous replay.
See what happens here.
Come on.
Right in the pocket.
I love when the pocket spins and flies back like that.
Oh, actually, that was 1 box ahead. Oh, that's right, because the replay, that's right, he threw it so fast that we weren't even done. Yeah, here we go. My bad.
And for the fill, and it'll be a strike fill. So it's a strike on spare on strike for 50 and a bonus through 3. Strike on spare on strike for.
We'll finish on the strike on spare on strike comment. All right, so let's zero in on this once again. This is when Jordan went on a run of marks towards the end. And it's another front camera situation on the left lane, which means we can steal the effects at the previous one once again. Right about here or so.
And for the fill, and it'll be a strike fill.
There we go. That's all set. Put the transform on Jordan. Start him out roughly in the same place where he was before. That's starting position. 1 or 2 steps in. To get right about here. And since he already is 1 step in, we'll make sure it's his next left foot step that we'll start the keyframe on. Then it's the throw, the release. We'll do a slight zoom, which should dovetail right into the fade. That of which we'll steal the keyframes from the pin cam. Right here. Have a look at this. Oh, my bad. Wrong keyframes. There we go. Keyframe 1 and keyframe 2. And this is for moving Jordan underneath the pins, so you can see both the player reaction as well as the pin action, which we love to see every time.
And for the fill, and it'll be a strike.
And then on the fade out from the front cam, the return to the back cam, we want to have a nice little transition there. And then, most importantly, we shall fade out the pin cam. And we'll fade it out from the start of the keyframe of the rear camera, or the bowler camera view keyframe.
So it's a...
And then some cleanup for the outro commentary as he takes his first step.
Strike on spare on strike.
And that will be a nice way to fix it. Let's play this back and see where we land.
And for the fill, and it'll be a strike fill. So it's a strike on spare.
You know what I like about that is if we watch the background, you see Dino was turned around, and I don't think he was expecting it. You see him kind of looking like, hey, oh crap. You see him returning to the score table on the compy score, going to put that in. Thought that was funny. One last watch and on to the next one.
And for the fill, and it'll be a strike fill. So it's a strike on spare on strike.
All right, that's in the books. We'll do one more. And how long have we been going today? It's been about 3 minutes, 2.5 minutes shy of an hour. Maybe we'll just call it here. I want to try to do more of these. And I'm still gauging how long it takes to kind of do one, because a lot of times I just do these and I never time myself in terms of how long these take. So, you know, kind of work in progress. And if you think these are boring as sin, do let me know. And like I said in the first one, we will never speak of this again if this is not of interest to anybody. So I just figured it was kind of this is a fun little experimental kind of live stream of sorts. Anyways, so one left, the fourth box of the fifth game for Dino Dellas, who threw another strike, and that's the one we'll close out on. G5, B4 for Dellas. Where is that? That was early on in the fifth game. That would have been his first half. Bowlers always bowl 5 boxes at a time. So we just got to find the part where he was in the fourth frame. Looks like we just found it. We're just getting it queued back up. Let's have a look at where we go. All right, almost there.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. He goes, oh no. Oh. He goes, hey, your laptop is playing this song from the 80s. He goes, oh no. Oh no.
We had some fun. Oh, right.
Oh my goodness. That was right after the spinny 10 box situation, and I won't include it in the short, but you can go watch the original broadcast in the context of what we were talking about. I won't spoil it for you. And you probably won't even maybe fully get the joke unless you're like a certain millennial age. It's it was one of those you had to be there kind of things.
80s. He goes, oh no. Oh no.
We had some fun. Oh, right there.
Kaboom, a hammer.
Perfect. A nice simple one to close things out. Let's just get the duplication going here. Again, we duplicate the clips. Since we've done a million of these today from this match, we already have some prefab stuff already prepared. It seems the left lane was kind of more hot in terms of the strikes, just anecdotally, based on the editing today. All right, so let's see where we land with this. The fade happens right here, or starts to happen right about here. Something like that. We'll pull our keyframes out a little bit. Yeah, that seems right.
Oh.
Perfect. So we are going to then transform Mr. Dellas from the start of the clip, again, to the rear view. Make it a little fun to watch. Here we go.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh.
And then the release. One thing about Dino, he has such a smooth ball. It's like an artistic kind of throw, but it also delivers results at the same time. It's kind of like how a quarterback throws a great football or whatever. I don't know what I'm saying, but it's just satisfying and pleasing to watch. So let's steal our keyframes again from the fades. One here. And one here. And what we do is we just do some zooming. We know Dino tends to stand upwards on impact, so we'll give him some vertical headroom so we don't have to do as much adjustments. Perfect. And a transform. One last one. And that's also where we're going to do a fade out point for the pin cam, of course. And it's kind of like a creative, like, I just want to get the marker where the keyframe was, then I can delete the keyframe just to do a zoom out, fade out. All right, so let's finish this up.
Oh no. Oh no.
We had some fun. Oh, right there.
Kaboom, a hammer.
All right, and that just about does it for the editing. We'll play them all back just to review, and then I won't render them on stream. I will do that offline because my GPU is already screaming at me enough right now, but, you know. All right, so we'll just play them back. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this stream today. I know it's a little different than what I normally do. It's kind of one of those things where I was like, I don't know, maybe we can just roll with it and see how it goes. And we'll be getting these shorts in the barrel. I usually try to stagger these. I usually render a lot more shorts than I actually put out, but I do keep them in the barrel for a rainy day. So these will eventually make their way out to the airwaves. It's just kind of choosing which one is the best one for the right time. I like to highlight all the bowlers kind of equally, but also like make sure everyone gets their chance in the spotlight of sorts. So I usually look very carefully at when I'm putting out the shorts and make sure it's like, is it a person who hasn't been featured in a while, or make sure they haven't been featured twice in a row or anything like that. I like to be as like impartial as possible when it comes to that. So Jordan Stackpole is kind of a newer bowler, and of course, want to always highlight everybody. So we'll get this out real soon. God, again with the pollen today. Just nose is running like a faucet. Sorry about that. All right, let's just watch these back from start to finish today, and then we'll maybe call it good for today. Here's Jordan Stackpole with the spare at the 13710.
6 drop here. Class A North Division 4.
That looks good.
Oh yeah, there's our first mark.
That is not as easy of a shot as it looks. And then Dino Dellas, the triple strike attempt.
Final quarter of the first game here.
Needs a mark if he wants to take this game.
Sure does.
And right on cue,
Yeah.
the double. Off the pocket, gets double.
Hey, 2 in a row. The Dellas double. That's 77 and counting. Next ball completes the double strike fill.
Right on the pocket again. Oh, 10 pin shy of the triple.
Beautiful.
So one thing we like to pause to kind of take in the atmosphere of the bowling center also. It's like the whole front desk was watching, and they were just yelling like triple. Oh, no, that was it's fun just to kind of sometimes just pause and just let the environment breathe, It's always fun. Just kind of like let it live in the moment.
Dallas up 2. Jordan Stackpole on the pocket himself, and he starts with a strike.
It's a 5-pin strike.
They're both smooth, but one throws a curve, and Dino just throws a nice, smooth, full extension right into the pocket. Another strike.
It's gone.
That looks pretty good. Oh, and it is 2 o'clock. I'll mute that for you. There we go. All right.
Stackpole is at 50 through 4, so he's on track to get a little higher at the halftime.
Ooh, right in the pocket, and he takes a strike.
That will.
Ooh, right in the pocket, and he takes a strike.
That will do it.
Another
So he'll
5-pin
bookend his
falling
half
strike.
strikes.
And then
Line that.
he was that 210. This risky 210 was something.
The Beaver.
And oh, gets it.
Yeah.
That's an interesting way to get it, but and for the fill, and it'll be a strike fill. So it's a strike on spare on strike.
And then the last one. Again, this match was just loaded with marks.
No.
It was a great one.
No.
We had some fun. Oh, right there.
Kaboom, a hammer.
All right, so that should just about do it. Okay, so thank you for watching me make some shorts. If you thought this was exciting, do let me know. I'm kind of fishing still to kind of see if this particular format of live stream on this channel is something worth pursuing or not. This is just the second one of these I've done. I know in the first one I had to fix the screen resolution. I know it was kind of chunky to watch, and this one is kind of a little closer to where I want it to be, but kind of is what it is. But anyways, that should just about do it for us today. Do check out the other content on the channel if you're just tuning in and watching to see how this is. Normally I do live streams at the bowling alleys with the full scoring and whatever. We're kind of in a bit of a lull period right now. The ACST is just wrapping up. Unsure what the final situation is going to be at this time. Might be doing some tournaments and things here and there randomly during the summer. Not quite sure yet. Also, be on the lookout. I am currently working on a brand new score system for the stream, and it's going to be provided by Micah Imparado, who will have a brand new score system that's going to be online, and it's going to be like sort of like everything that my previous score system did, but like amped up with like way more stats, way more views. And it's in active development, and I'm pretty excited for it because I've been kind of beta testing it a little bit, getting kind of used to how it works, and it's gonna be really great. So, anyways, folks, that'll be about it for us today on 3 Ball Spare, and I hope you have a great rest of your weekend or whatever it is. Have a great one, everyone.